Hello, today we're going to be talking about rentals and buying property and the good things and the bad things of it. So Norm has been here for how long now?
Well, this time I've been here about 3 months now.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
But he's been over here several times back and forth.
yeah.
And you bought some property before that.
Yeah, and I tell you, Monty, that was one of the first mistakes I made.
Okay.
I'd come over, started in 2017, would stay about 6 weeks at a time.
Uh-huh.
And in my mind, I had it all figured out, but I was wrong. So the last time we were here, I found some property because I was going to build a house.
Okay.
So we looked around and found this piece of property, which is further south from Dumaguete. You know, it's all the way past Darwin. So I bought that property, which I thought was a pretty good price.
Yeah.
You
thought?
Yeah, I thought until I started living here 3 months ago and started looking at what property actually costs.
Right.
So that was my first mistake. I paid way too much for property. So then we decided not to build a house, and we're just going to rent a house.
Right.
And boy, that has its own problems, believe me.
Well, let's hear about your landlord over here. What's going on?
Well, what we did, we rented a really nice house. It was
it is beautiful.
It was really nice. I mean, the eye appeal was great. Four bedroom house, big lot. You know, we bought goats and chickens, and you know, I was just going to be the farmer. But then we started having problems. First problem is the water.
Okay.
The water would leak constantly. The tank would be full at night, and I wake up in the morning and then got a drop of water.
Oh no.
So what I did is I called the landlord. Well, then the landlord complaining it was my fault somehow. And I don't know what I did. So
okay.
so the landlord refused to fix that. So I had to hire a plumber to come in and pay the plumber and fix it myself. So
lovely.
That only solved half the problem. Then the next problem I had was rats were getting in the ceiling and eating all the electrical, the
coating on the
coating off the wire, and all my breakers were tripping.
Oh, great.
So I called the landlord, and then, they complained, well, that's not my problem. So I had to,
well, I think so. It's your problem.
Well, I would think so, because I told them, I said, if I didn't notice that your house is going to burn down.
Right.
Didn't seem to matter. Yeah. So I ended up hiring an electrician to come out there, and it was a pretty good job because he had to trace every single wire. And so first time he charged me 1,500 pesos, which I thought was a deal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't done, so he got fixed. And then the next couple of nights later, the landlord was over there sitting on the front porch talking, and a breaker tripped again, and all the lights went out in the house. So they actually saw, well, it is a problem. So that time, the landlord agreed to pay the electrician to come back one time. Well, he got half of it fixed, and then she refused to pay a third time for him to complete the job. I mean, she paid him 1,500 pesos too, $25. And I think they're just afraid that they're getting ripped off or something. But I tried to tell her, I'm a little bit, I know a little bit about electricity.
Yeah,
I know, if it's breaker trips, your house could burn down.
Right.
So that continued to be an issue.
And then you're frying mice in the attic. They're not going to smell good later on.
Yeah. Well, and then the electrician told the landlord, listen, you need to get some rat poison and put up there.
Right there and kill them.
I'm not going to pay for that. I'm not. So, I ended up doing that myself too. So it was just one thing, then another. And then we had some old shower heads, they're old moldy shower heads. Water didn't come out good. So I said, I ain't going to mess with the landlord. I'm just going to do it myself. So I went and replaced them. And the old shower head, I just threw in the trash. Well, they got all tore up because I didn't give them the old shower head back. And so that just kind of broke it. And she started complaining that we were the worst tenants he's ever had. And, we caused so much trouble. So I just told her, I mean, this wasn't a cheap house either. It was
No.
it was like $45K a month for the house. So we had to pay, 2 months deposit down. So I told the landlord, I said, well, if I'm that bad, then you give me my deposit back and I'll move out. Well,
no, I don't.
ain't gonna get any deposit back. So then I just kind of got to thinking, she never returned a copy of my signed lease. So that got me thinking. And then I got to thinking, I'm paying this person all this cash every month and I'm not getting any kind of receipt. So I got to look it on the internet because I didn't know. I said, are landlords required to give receipt? And yes, they are. And it said required to fix things to make it livable and supposed to give a return lease and everything. So I mentioned that to the landlord. I said, well, one, you never returned my lease and you don't give me receipts. You don't fix this stuff. I'm trying to encourage her to give me my money back. And basically the landlord said, well, you can just move out, but you're not getting any money back. And I said, well, I told her, I said, well, I'll just have to call an attorney then. And I guess she thought I was joking, bluffing or whatever. So I called the attorney and the attorney told me, he said, yes, you're right. And he brought up a good point. He said, matter of fact, if they don't give you a lease or a receipt,
they're trying to avoid paying the
taxes on it. So we dropped that little bomb of, well, we're just going to
the BIR,
file a complaint with the BIR. And Lord have mercy, how quickly her attitude changed.
Well, you can move out, sir, and we'll give you your money, no problem.
Yep. And so that was the smartest thing I did, is getting hold of the attorney. It cost me a couple thousand pesos.
Well worth it.
And then I said, I don't want to contact this landlord anymore. So everything goes through the attorney. So we have a record of it. So that's kind of where we sit right now, is she agreed to give us our security deposit back because we had to put 2 months. So this month ate up. I didn't make any rent payment, so that kind of ate it up. And the last one is going to be, after the utility bill's paid, they'll give the money back. But the attorney's the key. He told me, said, you deal through me. You pay me any money and I'll pay her. So there's a record of it. And she didn't want to do that. As far as, like, if we were going to stay there, I told her, I'm no longer giving you cash. I will pay the attorney and he will pay you.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's right. So lesson learned.
And we also learned that, like, there was another couple that stayed there for about 3 months. And they moved out because she was giving them a hassle. And she didn't return their deposit. So I think she likes that idea. I'll keep them a couple months. I'll get angry with them. I'll tell them they got to leave, and I get to keep that 90,000 peso and put it in my pocket. So if it takes a couple months to rent it again, no problem.
Yeah, and that seemed to be the kind of her MO there. Right. And the last people that left, they didn't even really speak much English. They were Koreans, and the gossip around the neighborhood is they just left everything there just to get away from her. And
that's why there's so much stuff.
Yeah,
there.
It was the same issue. It was the water issue and the internet, which I didn't think that it's not like its own internet. It's connected to the neighbors, and we had to pay the neighbor.
Oh, Lord.
And every time it would rain, the neighbor would unplug the internet. So, I'm just like...
Well, what'd you do to take care of that?
Well, we ended up having to buy one of those... Starlink's what it was. And that was the best thing I ever did. That is money well spent. And
you
now,
bought that used though, right?
Yeah, well,
refurbished.
I bought it. It's off Lazada, and they had a special, like, half price.
Oh, wow.
And I think I paid like 15,000 pesos for the unit.
That's about $250.
Yeah. And it comes in, and it's real easy to set up. And I think I pay like, it's like $30 a month is what it comes out to for the service.
Oh, wow.
But that thing, it storms, it rains, whatever.
It's still working.
It works all the time, and have no trouble videoing or anything like that. So that's the way to go. So
yeah. I'd heard so many mixed emotions about those things, but I was at your house and used your internet, man. It was quick.
It is. It's
And we're paying $50 a month for not so quick.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you, I encourage everybody to do that. I mean, I hope all your viewers, Monty, will realize that don't make all the mistakes I did.
Yes.
You know.
And the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
You know, I lived in Martesian Beach. We rented a house down there from a lady. She gave us some idiot contract for like, it was like somebody that was renting a room in a building or something, and you got to clean the restrooms, you got to do this. I was like, the hell is this? This don't even make any sense. And I was like, okay, well, it's Philippines. I don't know how they do things here, so whatever. Yeah. And then our roof started leaking like 3 months in. She said, I called her and I was like, hey, the roof is leaking like crazy. She goes, well, you need to fix that.
Like it's your fault,
what?
Right? Yeah.
She goes, well, you're living there. You need to fix it. I said, I'm not fixing it. And so she said, well, I don't know what you're going to do. And I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to move. And so we found a place. I went on Facebook Marketplace. Mm-hmm. I found a place up in Valencia, up in the mountain. Not on Paul's side of the mountain, but the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went up there and we lucked out. We were supposed to come there on a Saturday, but I went up there on a Friday just to see where it was.
Yeah.
So I'm not super late. He said, I'm showing it to 5 couples on Saturday. I'm like, oh, well, yeah. I don't know if I'll get this or not. So we drive up on Friday to look for it, and I just happened to look for the gate. And I was driving down through real slow, and he was standing at the gate. And I was like, hey, are you Mike? And he goes, yeah. I was like, oh, I was going to come and look at your house tomorrow, but wanted to just see what see where it was. Uh-huh. He said, well, come on in. So I went in, we started talking, walked through the house. I loved it. It was $200 a month at that time, $209 a month. And he said, I said, well, I guess I'll come back tomorrow, but I'd really like to have the place. He said, you got any money on you? I'm like, yeah, I got the first and last.
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, okay, well, let's go sign the lease. Let's go to my house, sign the lease. So we lived there for a little over a year, and that was another mess. He sold the property to an American guy, and this guy was actually English, but he sold it to an American guy, and the sister-in-law took over because him and his wife lived in America. Well, she had never really done anything like that. I guess she thought she was big and tough now,
Yeah,
I'm the boss here, and I went back to America, and Ariel was there by herself, and she was, being real mean to Ariel, and then we had a little dog, and she said, oh, if I catch a little dog in my yard, in my garden again, I'm gonna kill it.
Oh man!
And Ariel called me crying, telling me that. I was like, you know what? I said, we're moving. You're moving. And so she came back here, and then we built this little place.
Yeah, this is a nice little place here.
But landlords here they're going to try to get away with what they can. They don't have. Well, okay, they probably have the same laws, kind of like we have in America.
Yeah.
From what we've read, but there's nobody to enforce it.
Right. Nobody really cares about it.
Yeah. So they try to get away with whatever they can.
Yeah.
Which they would in America or any other country in the world.
Yeah.
But we're just telling you what we went through, not that we're any kind of experts or anything like that. But just be careful when you come over here. Make sure it's a legit lease. Don't pay a bunch of money up front. They used to have a scam, we need your whole first year.
Oh, yeah, no.
And pre-written out checks. And I was like, oh, hell no,
I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
And I tell you, one thing to do is if you're dealing with an agent,
right?
And most of the time you are an agent, ask them, can you talk to the previous tenants? And you will learn so much there.
There you go.
Because my wife talked to the tenants before the 3-month people, and she got the whole story, and that would have been invaluable to have.
But it was too late. It
was too late. But it all worked out good. I tell you, it all worked out good. We found another house that's a lot closer to town.
That's going to give you a real lease.
Oh, it gave me a real lease. A great landlord. We've met him. He invited us over to their house where they live, and you know, invite us for barbecue, and I was saying some things in the house. He said, "Oh, we can take care of that, no problem." So very legitimate guy, and the property I bought, I mean, the guy, he was Canadian. I bought it from. He was a really good guy, and he agreed we'll just purchase it back, same deal. So I'm not out anything.
Okay.
And so, you know, in the end, it worked out for me. But just, you know, it's not always that lucky. You know,
right.
I've known a lot of people that's lost a lot of money. So
I've had the best luck I've had ever over here is renting from another foreigner.
Yeah.
Rather than renting from a local.
Yeah.
I should say.
That's the way this guy, he's from England, you know, and his wife is a nurse, spent, you know, 20 years in England as a nurse, so they're real legit. So, and another plug for Alma Foucault is the one that I actually used this time, not the first time.
Yeah, she's
and she is the real deal. I was going to look at one property, and she told me, no, not this one. We've had problems with the landlord not being responsible. So, I mean, she will guide you in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, so if you're coming over, you know, you can look her up. I think Mike's Philippine Retirement, if you guys watch him, I think he's got several videos with her on it. And her information. I'll try to look up her information, and I'll put it down in the description of the video. So if you guys are coming over, maybe you guys can contact her.
Yep.
And but we just wanted to come on here a few minutes, talk to you guys, and you know, I think I'm gonna name this video "Rental Disasters You Can Get Into."
Yeah, rental nightmares for sure.
It really, you can really get hurt over here. You know, if she would have took that 90,000 pesos, that's a lot of cash.
Oh, it is. I mean, and I'm not, you know, my budget's not huge. I mean, you know, well, I when I moved here, I thought $3,000 a month I would be doing well above, and it's not. So it's things have really increased in cost here for over the last couple of years that I've been coming here. So it's not near as cheap as it was before.
Yeah, some of my Filipino neighbors said, well, telling Ergo, well, your husband's a foreigner, you can afford that. I said, no, I'm a porner. I'm not a foreigner.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah, sure enough.
So,
sure enough.
You know, you just got limited incomes, and some of you guys are moving over here, you know, just on Social Security and stuff. You got to watch your P's and Q's, you know.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to, if you're going to rent, to really study the place. Some mistakes I made was, we moved into a place, there were 35 roosters next door.
Yeah.
Because he breeds them. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the lady across the street rented out her giant karaoke machine. And that was a nightmare. And so what I did on the next place that I looked at, I went by there during the day and listened to see what I could hear, and sat out there for about an hour.
That's smart.
Then I came back on a Sunday night and sat out there. And one of the places I was looking at, I figured out after Sunday night, no way.
If they're going to party, it's going to be on a Sunday night.
Big party.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't doing all of that. And then, you know, so just go by the place, check things out. You know, being there physically, and, you know, just like if you go with Alma or whoever, you know, that's fine. But then go by, you know, on a Friday night, a Sunday night.
Check it yourself.
Check it yourself. You know, so go by there early in the morning. Get up one morning at 5 o'clock. Drive down there. You hear 1,000 roosters screaming. It's not your place to want to be.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
So just look around. Be picky. There, you know, rent you a hotel for a month. Take your time, and just look and figure out exactly. You know, don't take the first one you find. Look around and see. Unless the first one you find is absolutely amazing, which usually is not the case.
Yeah, well, my problem, I would sit home in North Carolina and watch all these YouTube videos and think that, you know, now I'm an expert and I'm ready to come out and build a house. I mean, that was my biggest mistake.
Yeah.
And every YouTube video, people have said, slow down, and I thought I was smarter than that, but I was stupid. So take it from my mistakes, slow down, and
like my
take
buddy,
your time.
like my buddy Paul says all the time. You know, people think of this as paradise, but there is no place such thing.
No, yeah, that's right.
No place is paradise.
Yep.
There's going to be problems no matter where you live, anywhere in the world. So we're just trying to give you a little whatever of what you could run into here. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Sorry I haven't been doing a lot of them. Just haven't really felt up to it. A little quick update on the side. I should be going in on the 16th or 17th to have stents put in. Unless I need a bypass, and then we'll go from there. But, so, just a little update for my regular viewers that are watching. All right, take care. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.
Hi, I'm Monty Crew.
Hi, and I'm Argel Crew.
We're a married couple living in the Philippines.
We will be covering topics about everyday life here in the Philippines. So if you are planning to visit, move to, or retire here in the Philippines,
Tap that subscription button, tap that bell notification so you don't miss out on anything.